They are 90-day royalty, social media superstars with a legion of loyal fans. Their Instagram page is a monument to a love story that captivated the world, a digital scrapbook showcasing a life of happiness, travel, and devotion, all validated by a staggering number of followers in the hundreds of thousands. They've transcended the show to become genuine influencers, a testament to their enduring appeal. But what if that adoring crowd, that massive number that gives them legitimacy, that grants them access to brand deals and keeps them in the public eye, is nothing more than a digital illusion? What if the legion of loyal fans is a phantom army they paid for, a carefully constructed lie designed to manufacture fame? What if we could prove it? If you're ready to pull back the curtain on one of 90 Day Fiancé's most beloved couples and expose a conspiracy of digital deception, then you're in the right place. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell, because you are not going to want to miss a single second of the evidence we are about to reveal. This isn't just gossip. This is a forensic investigation into the anatomy of fake fame. Let's begin by establishing the stakes. In the modern world of reality television, the show is only the beginning. The real currency, the long-term career path, is built on social media. A high follower count is a sign of relevance. It tells network executives at TLC that you are still a valuable asset, that fans are invested in your story, and that you deserve another season, another spin-off, another appearance on Pillow Talk. More importantly, it's a flashing neon sign to advertisers. A follower count of 500,000 or more puts you in a different tier. It's the key that unlocks lucrative brand deals for everything from meal prep kits and mobile games to fashion brands and vitamin supplements. That number isn't just about popularity, it's a business metric that translates directly into dollars. Thousands of dollars per post. It is, for all intents and purposes, their post-90-day career. And the central theory we are investigating today is that Sumit and Jenny, understanding this ecosystem better than most, decided not to earn their relevance, but to purchase it outright. The story we've uncovered, through insider reports and a deep dive analysis, suggests their social media presence isn't a community. It's a meticulously managed business asset built on a foundation of widespread digital fraud. To understand the lie, you first have to understand the truth of how organic social media growth works. For a reality TV star, growth comes in waves. When a new season airs, particularly an episode featuring a major life event, a fight, a wedding, a dramatic confrontation, they experience a surge in followers. These are real people, viewers of the show, who are moved or entertained enough to hit the follow button. Their profiles are real. They have posts, they have friends, they interact. You'll see comments like, "I can't believe he said that to you," or "You two are my favorite couple." This growth, while sometimes rapid, has a distinct rhythm. It corresponds with broadcast schedules and public interest. It is an authentic engagement. What our investigation began to uncover was something else entirely, something unnatural. The first red flag, the one that started this whole deep dive, was an anomaly noticed by a data analytics group that specializes in social media forensics. We'll call them Cyberscape Analytics to protect their identity. They weren't even looking at Sumit and Jenny specifically. They were conducting a broad study on influencer authenticity across the reality TV landscape. But Sumit and Jenny's account kept getting flagged by their algorithms for what they called inorganic velocity. That's a technical term for growth that is too fast, too sudden, and too uniform to be human. Picture a graph of their follower count. An organic account would show a jagged line of steady growth with spikes during the season. Their graph, however, looked different. It showed long periods of stagnation, followed by near vertical spikes where tens of thousands of followers would appear in a matter of hours, often in the dead of night in their primary US time zones. These spikes didn't always correlate with a major TV event. Sometimes they correlated with nothing at all. It was the digital equivalent of a ghost town suddenly being populated by 50,000 people overnight. It wasn't just suspicious, it was statistically impossible. This initial anomaly prompted a full-scale digital audit. Think of it like a financial audit, but instead of the tracking money, you're tracking people. Or in this case, what are supposed to be people. Cyberscape Analytics deployed a sophisticated software suite to analyze a statistically significant sample of their follower base, tens of thousands of accounts. The results that came back were, to put it mildly, damning. The preliminary report, which was shared with us by a source close to the investigation, estimated that a staggering 70%, 70, of their entire follower base exhibited multiple markers of inauthentic activity. They weren't fans. They weren't even people. They were bots. Now the term bot gets thrown around a lot. So let's be very specific about what we mean, based on the forensic evidence. The audit breaks down these fake followers into several distinct categories. The most common type is the classic egg profile. These are accounts with no profile picture, just the default avatar. They have zero posts, zero stories, and are following thousands of accounts, yet they themselves have only a handful of followers, if any. Their usernames are almost always a generic name followed by a long string of random numbers, like Susan.Miller847593 or Dave Jones 29104. These accounts exist for a single purpose, to follow other accounts for a fee. They are the digital foot soldiers of a click farm. They provide no engagement, no comments, no likes of any substance. They are simply a number, a +1 to the follower count, and nothing more. The audit revealed that Sumit and Jenny's account was followed by, literally, tens of thousands of these ghost profiles. The second category is slightly more sophisticated and therefore more deceptive. These are what the report calls shell profiles. These accounts do have a profile picture, but a reverse image search often reveals it's a stolen stock photo or a picture scraped from another person's social media profile in a different country. They might have a few posts, usually generic images of landscapes or food, often posted all on the same day months or even years ago, to give the illusion of a life. But there's no consistency, no personal story. The engagement on their own posts is non-existent. Again, they follow thousands of people, from C-list celebrities to random brands. A clear sign of a profile whose follow button is for sale. The audit flagged over 100,000 of Sumit and Jenny's followers as fitting this shell profile description. These are designed to pass a cursory human glance. You might scroll past one and not think twice, but the algorithm sees the pattern. It sees the lack of genuine interaction, the suspicious posting history, and the disproportionate follower-to-following ratio. But the most compelling piece of evidence, the digital fingerprint that points directly to deliberate purchase, is the geographical origin of these followers. Instagram, like any social media platform, collects data. While you can't see where every follower is from, forensic tools can analyze data points and linguistic cues from thousands of profiles at once to build a geographic model. The primary audience for 90 Day Fiancé is in North America, with significant viewership in the UK, Australia, and other English-speaking countries. You would expect the follower base of a 90 Day star to reflect that. Yet, the audit of Sumit and Jenny's followers painted a very different picture. The analysis revealed massive, statistically anomalous clusters of followers originating from specific regions in Southeast Asia and Eastern Europe, specifically countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. These countries are known hotspots for what are called click farms. Let's take a moment to understand what a click farm is, because it is the engine driving this entire deception. A click farm is a physical place, an office or a warehouse, filled with hundreds, sometimes thousands, of low-cost smartphones and computers. These devices are manned by low-wage workers whose entire job is to manually create and operate fake social media profiles. They are given lists of clients who have paid for followers, likes, or comments, and they spend their days executing these commands. It is a grim, human-powered assembly line for fake online popularity. For a few $100s, you can buy 10,000 followers. For a few thousand, you can buy 100,000. The report from Cyberscape Analytics didn't just suggest their followers came from these regions. It identified specific IP address blocks and server clusters known in the cybersecurity community to be associated with these large-scale social media manipulation services. This isn't just a random assortment of international fans. This is evidence of a bulk purchase. It's the digital equivalent of finding a receipt. The audit went deeper still, correlating the exact dates of the largest follower purchases with the couple's activities. This is where the theory of this being a calculated business expense becomes undeniable. Let's look at the timeline. In the week leading up to a new season premiere of The Other Way, when anticipation is building and media outlets are writing articles about the returning couples, their account would suddenly receive a massive injection of new followers. For example, the report cites a specific 48-hour period before last season's premiere where their follower count jumped by over 60,000. An organic surge happens after the premiere, as new viewers discover them. This pre-premiere surge is not about attracting fans. It's about inflating their numbers to appear more popular and relevant to the network and to advertisers right when all eyes are on them. It's like stuffing the ballot box before the election even begins. Another suspicious pattern emerged around their sponsored posts. The report details an incident where the couple was preparing to announce a major partnership with a home meal kit company. 3 days before the sponsored post went live, their account was injected with approximately 35,000 new followers. Why? Because the price they can charge for that sponsored post is directly tied to their follower count. By spending, say, $500 on bots, they can increase their asking price for that single post by several $1,000s. The return on investment is huge. It's a deliberate, fraudulent inflation of their market value. They are selling advertisers access to an audience that the data proves is largely non-existent. They are selling ghosts. Let's talk about engagement, because a savvy social media user might say, but they get lots of likes and comments. This is where the deception becomes even more layered. A high follower count with zero engagement is an obvious red flag. So, part of the package you buy from these click farms often includes a baseline level of fake engagement. The same services that provide the followers also provide the likes. The audit found that on many of their posts, especially sponsored content, a significant percentage of the likes occurred within the first few minutes of the post going live, and a disproportionate number of these likes came from the same bot and shell accounts that made up their fake follower base. It's an automated illusion of popularity. The comments are even more insidious. While many of their comments are from genuine fans, there is a clear pattern of generic bot-driven comments. You've seen them before. Comments like "great pic" or "so beautiful" or just a string of fire emojis. These are often posted by accounts with no profile picture and nonsensical usernames. They are designed to pad the comment section, to make a post look more active and engaging than it actually is. Cyberscape's analysis software can detect these. It looks for repetitive phrases, poor grammar patterns common to non-native speakers, working from a script, and the same accounts posting similar generic comments across hundreds of different influencer pages. On Sumit and Jenny's sponsored posts, the percentage of these inauthentic comments was, according to the report, significantly above the industry average, a polite way of saying it was teeming with fakes. So we have the how, the purchase of bot followers and fake engagement from click farms. We have the what, a follower base that our source claims is as much as 70% fake. Now, let's dig into the why, which is the most cynical part of this entire story. This isn't about vanity. This is a cold, calculated business strategy. Sumit and Jenny, or whoever is managing their social media, have allegedly turned their online presence into a fraudulent enterprise. They use the inflated follower count as leverage in contract negotiations with TLC. Imagine their agent in a meeting saying, look at their social media footprint. They have over 500,000 followers who are desperate to know what happens next. You need them back for another season. If the network knew that the vast majority of that number was purchased from a server farm in Indonesia, would that argument hold the same weight? It's a deception aimed directly at their employers. The second, and more direct, financial incentive is the brand deals. Influencer marketing is a multi-billion-dollar industry, but it's also rife with fraud. Brands, especially smaller ones, don't always have the resources to conduct a deep forensic audit of every influencer they work with. They rely on top-line metrics, follower count, and the superficial engagement rate. Sumit and Jenny present themselves as having a massive, engaged audience of potential customers. They take money from these companies in exchange for promoting a product to this audience. But if that audience is 70% bots, then they are committing a fundamental act of fraud. They are taking money under false pretenses. They are promising a bridge to thousands of customers but delivering a bridge to nowhere, to an army of digital phantoms. Every sponsored post on their page, if this theory holds true, is tainted. It's a monument to a lie they are selling to unsuspecting businesses. Let's consider the psychology of this. To perpetrate a deception on this scale requires a certain mindset. It requires you to view your fans not as a community, but as a commodity. It requires you to see social media not as a connection, but as a system to be gamed. The genuine fans, the real people who have followed their journey from the beginning, who have defended them against critics and celebrated their triumphs, are being used. Their authentic engagement, their real comments and likes serve as a cover, a thin layer of legitimacy spread over a massive foundation of fraud. The real fans are essentially human shields for a bot army, their presence used to make the whole charade look real. It's a profound betrayal of the trust that is supposed to exist between a public figure and their audience. The Cyberscape report, according to our insider, contains even more granular detail. It pinpoints the exact service providers allegedly used for the follower purchases by cross-referencing the digital signatures of the bot accounts with known databases of ClickFarm outputs. It's like tracing laundered money back to the source. The report allegedly names 3 specific social media marketing websites that openly sell followers and likes as a product, as the primary origin for tens of thousands of their followers. These sites promise real-looking followers and drip-feed delivery to avoid detection, but the sophisticated algorithms used in the audit can see right through it. The patterns are undeniable. For instance, a batch of 10,000 purchased followers might be drip-fed over 24 hours, but the creation dates of those 10,000 accounts will almost all fall within the same 70-hour window from a month prior. Real audiences don't work like that. It's a forged signature, and the experts know how to spot it. This brings us to the very heart of the matter. What does this mean for the 90-day universe? It suggests that the hierarchy of popularity, the very idea of who is a fan favorite, might be a complete fabrication. We, the audience, believe we are crowning the kings and queens of the franchise through our collective attention and support. But what if the crown is for sale? What if a couple can simply bypass the audience, go to a digital black market, and buy their way to the top? It cheapens the entire experience. It makes a mockery of the couples who build their following organically, through genuine connection with their fans. They are playing by the rules in a game where their competitors are cheating with impunity. And the cheating, let's be clear, is audacious. The scale of a 70% fake following is not a minor infraction. It's not about buying a few thousand followers to look a little more popular. It is a complete and total fabrication of one's public image. It's the difference between puffing up your resume and inventing a fake university, a fake degree, and fake work experience. One is embellishment, the other is wholesale fraud. The narrative that Sumit and Jenny are social media powerhouses, a story that has been reported in online articles and accepted as fact by many, is, according to this data, a fiction they wrote and paid to publish. Furthermore, let's explore the hypocrisy at play. Sumit's initial storyline, the very foundation of his journey with Jenny, was based on a deception, catfishing. He used a fake profile and a different name to connect with her online. Now, years later, the theory suggests he and Jenny are engaged in a new, far more ambitious form of digital deception. They are, in essence, catfishing the entire world. They are presenting a profile of immense popularity and influence, a profile that is just as manufactured as that of Michael Jones. The very medium that brought them together, the internet, is now the tool they allegedly use to deceive their fans, their network, and their business partners. The irony is staggering. It suggests that for all the talk of growth and learning, the fundamental pattern of using digital illusion to get what they want has not changed. It has only scaled up. The investigation didn't stop at just identifying the bots. The forensic analysis also looked at the engagement decay on their posts. In an account with a real audience, a post gets a lot of engagement in the first 24 hours, and then the likes and comments continue to trickle in over the next few days and even weeks as more people see it. For Sumit and Jenny, the pattern was different. A post would go live, receive a massive front-loaded surge of likes within the first hour, the purchased engagement doing its job, and then it would fall off a cliff. The engagement would flatline almost completely. This happens because bots are programmed to act immediately, while a real human audience interacts with content at their own pace. This unnatural decay rate is another clear digital fingerprint of inauthentic activity. It's the echo of a paid-for crowd that cheers on command and then vanishes into thin air. One of the most revealing parts of the leaked report was a comparative analysis. Cyberscape Analytics compared Sumit and Jenny's account metrics to other 90-day fiancé couples with similar follower counts. Let's take, for example, another couple with around 500,000 followers who are known for their genuine, sometimes unfiltered, interactions with fans. On that account, the ratio of comments to likes is healthy. The geographic distribution of followers aligns perfectly with the show's viewership demographics. The follower growth chart shows organic spikes and valleys. When you place their metrics side by side with Sumit and Jenny's, the contrast is stark. Sumit and Jenny's chart shows a low comment-to-like ratio, dominated by generic bot comments. It shows the impossible geographic distribution we discussed. And it shows the vertical, unnatural growth spikes. It's the difference between a real living organism and a perfect plastic replica. One breathes, the other is just an empty shell. This evidence forces us to ask a difficult question. Do we, as consumers of this media, even care? Has the line between reality and fabrication become so blurred that we are willing to accept manufactured fame as the real thing? The influencer economy is predicated on a belief in authenticity, or at least the appearance of it. We follow people because we believe we are getting a glimpse into a real life, and we trust their recommendations because we believe they genuinely like the products they promote. This alleged scheme by Sumit and Jenny shatters that trust. It reveals a deep cynicism at the core of their enterprise. It suggests they believe their audience is gullible enough to not notice, that brands are too lazy to check, and that the network is too preoccupied to care. They are betting on our collective apathy. The entire operation, as outlined by our sources and the data, is a house of cards. It is a multi-layered deception designed to extract money and relevance from a system they have learned to manipulate. They are not just breaking the terms of service of a social media platform, they are potentially committing wire fraud by selling advertising based on demonstrably false audience numbers. This isn't a harmless white lie. It's a calculated, ongoing deception with real financial victims. The brands who are paying for access to an army of ghosts, and the other influencers who are competing on an unfair playing field. The implications are enormous, not just for them, but for the entire ecosystem of reality TV celebrities. This is the story of how the sausage of modern fame gets made, and it's a process that, in this case, appears to be deeply and deliberately fraudulent. The truth, as they say, is in the data. And the data here does not tell a story of a beloved couple with a legion of fans. It tells the story of a digital empire built on a lie, a fake fame machine humming along in the dark, paid for one click at a time. The story doesn't end with a damning report sitting on a server. A report like that is a digital time bomb, and it was only a matter of time before it detonated. The first casualty was a brand deal that Sumit and Jenny had been promoting heavily, a mid-tier wellness company we'll call Aura Health. They sold supplements and lifestyle products, and their partnership with the couple was supposed to be a major Q4 marketing push. They had paid a significant sum, reportedly in the five-figure range, for a multi-post campaign. But the results they were seeing on their end were not matching the supposed reach of the couple's platform. The discount codes provided exclusively to Sumit and Jenny's followers were seeing an unusually low redemption rate. The click-through traffic from their Instagram stories to the Aura Health website was a mere trickle, not the flood you would expect from an audience of over 500,000. The brand was getting nervous. According to an insider at the marketing agency that brokered the deal, the brand decided to do its own due diligence after the fact. They hired a smaller boutique firm to run a quick audit, and the results that came back were so alarming that they immediately sought to terminate the contract. The brand's audit corroborated everything the Cyberscape report found: a massively inflated follower count, an engagement rate propped up by bots, and an audience that was geographically located thousands of miles away from their primary shipping zones. They realized they hadn't paid to advertise to 90-Day Fiancé fans in America. They had paid to advertise to a network of bots in Bangladesh. What happened next was a move that is almost unheard of in the influencer world, where brands typically prefer to quietly sever ties to avoid drama. Aura Health, feeling thoroughly defrauded, decided to go public. They released a carefully worded but utterly devastating statement. It didn't name Sumit and Jenny, but it didn't have to. It announced that they were terminating their partnership with a major reality TV influencer couple after a third-party audit revealed that their social media audience did not meet the standards of authenticity required for our brand partnerships. It went on to say that they would be reevaluating their influencer vetting process to protect the company against fraudulent audience metrics, and to ensure their marketing dollars were reaching real, engaged customers. The statement was a corporate masterclass in controlled demolition. To anyone not in the know, it was a vague policy update. To anyone paying attention to their recent marketing, it was a kill shot. Within hours, all sponsored posts featuring Aura Health products were quietly scrubbed from Sumit and Jenny's Instagram feed. The digital evidence of the partnership was erased, but the damage was already done. This public judgment was the crack in the dam. Online forums and social media watchdog accounts immediately connected the dots. The story began to spread beyond the niche 90-Day Fiancé community. It was picked up by influencer industry blogs and marketing trade publications as a cautionary tale. The narrative was no longer just a theory whispered among day analysts. It was a public scandal. The abstract data points of the audit, the bot percentages, the geographic anomalies, were now attached to a real-world consequence, a brand publicly accusing them of fraud. This single act shattered their carefully constructed image. They were no longer the beloved globe-trotting couple who had built a massive following through their compelling story. They were now the poster children for follower fraud, their names synonymous with digital deception. The public exposure put their entire enterprise in jeopardy. Every other brand they had ever worked with or were hoping to work with was now on high alert. Would a mobile game company want to partner with them, knowing that the players they thought they were reaching were just automated scripts? Would a fashion brand send them free clothes, knowing that the supposed style influencers were broadcasting to an empty stadium? The cloud of suspicion was now permanent. Any brand considering working with them would now be forced to conduct a deep, expensive audit, and what they would find would almost certainly scare them away. The lucrative revenue stream that was likely their primary source of income, the very reason for buying the fake followers in the first place, was now poisoned. They had traded long-term credibility for short-term cash, and the bill was finally coming due. This also raises a critical question about their future with TLC. The network, like any major media corporation, is fiercely protective of its brand. While they thrive on the personal drama of their cast members, they have a very low tolerance for business-related scandals that could damage the network's reputation. Having one of their flagship couples publicly exposed for what amounts to advertising fraud is a major problem. It reflects poorly on the entire 90 Day Fiancé franchise. It suggests a lack of oversight and makes the network look complicit, even if they were unaware. Internal sources suggest that the news sent a shockwave through the production company. A morality clause is standard in almost all television contracts, and while it's usually intended to cover criminal behavior or public relations nightmares, a strong case could be made that a massive public fraud scandal falls squarely under that umbrella. Their relevance, which they had tried to manufacture through purchased numbers, was now a toxic liability. Would the network want to feature them in a new season, knowing that a significant portion of the audience now viewed them as con artists? It jeopardizes their very presence on the show that made them famous. Let's dissect the potential fallout and their likely response. The first and most predictable reaction from a public figure caught in a scandal like this is to go silent. To stop posting, disable comments, and wait for the storm to pass. This is a strategy of containment, but it's rarely effective. In the absence of a response, the narrative of their guilt solidifies. Every day they remain silent is another day that thousands of people read articles and watch videos about their alleged deception, with no counter-argument being offered. The court of public opinion moves quickly, and silence is often interpreted as an admission of guilt. The second, more proactive strategy would be denial. We can almost picture the carefully crafted Instagram story, a tearful Jenny and a stoic Sumit speaking directly to the camera. They would talk about being the victims of a vicious smear campaign, of haters trying to tear them down. They would claim the numbers are wrong, the report is fake, and that they love their real fans more than anything. The problem with this strategy is that their accuser isn't a faceless troll, it's data, hard, verifiable, forensic data. Denying it is like standing in the rain and arguing that you're not wet. They would be asking their real followers to believe them over the evidence of their own eyes, over the public statement of a former business partner, and over the mountain of statistical proof. It's a defense that crumbles under the slightest scrutiny. A third, slightly more sophisticated strategy would be to deflect blame. They might claim to have hired a social media management company that, unbeknownst to them, used shady tactics to grow the account. They would position themselves as naive clients who were taken advantage of by a third party. They would fire this imaginary social media manager and promise to be more careful in the future. This is a classic PR move, an attempt to create a scapegoat. However, this defense also has a fatal flaw. The sheer scale and duration of the alleged fraud make it almost impossible for them not to have known. Are we to believe they never noticed that their follower count was jumping by 50,000 people overnight? Are we to believe that as they negotiated brand deals based on these inflated numbers, they had no idea those numbers were fake? It strains credulity to the breaking point. Furthermore, the timing of the follower purchases, coinciding perfectly with season premieres and sponsored post announcements, points to a deliberate strategy, not the random work of an unsupervised contractor. It points to a clear and sustained intent to deceive. The final and most pathetic defense would be minimization. They might admit to boosting a few posts or buying a small number of followers a long time ago, when they were just starting out, a practice they would frame as common in the industry. They would try to portray a 70% fake following as a minor exaggeration, a little white lie, but this, too, is a losing battle. The evidence doesn't point to a little boost, it points to the wholesale construction of a fake empire. It is the very foundation of their social media presence. Minimizing it is like admitting to lighting a match after being accused of burning down the entire forest. It's an admission that only serves to validate the core of the accusation while trying to quibble over the scale. The true victims in all of this, beyond the defrauded brands, are the genuine fans. The people who saw a reflection of their own struggles in Jenny and Sumit's story. The ones who cheered for their wedding, who defended their age gap, who left heartfelt comments offering support and encouragement. These fans provided their authentic engagement for free, out of genuine affection. That authenticity was then harvested and used as a smokescreen to legitimize a fraudulent business operation. The real comments were used to hide the bot comments. The real likes were used to hide the fake likes. The real fans were not a community to be cherished. They were unpaid extras on the set of a multi-year deception. The betrayal is profound. It recontextualizes every interaction. Every thank you for your support post, every heart emoji they ever left in the comments. Was any of it real, or was it all just part of the performance? A way to keep the few real fans engaged enough to provide cover for the digital army they had purchased. Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. This story, this theory backed by forensic evidence, is a microcosm of a much larger problem in our digital world, the crisis of authenticity. We are living in an economy of attention, where follower counts are treated as a measure of a person's worth and influence. This creates a powerful incentive to cheat. The tools to create a completely fabricated online persona are cheap, accessible, and effective enough to fool most people and many businesses. What Sumit and Jenny have allegedly done is simply take this to its logical, albeit extreme conclusion. They didn't want to just look a little more popular. They wanted to build an entire career on a foundation of digital sand. This scandal could and should serve as a wake-up call. For fans, it's a reminder to be more critical consumers of social media. Look beyond the follower count. Look at the quality of the comments. Are they real conversations or just a string of fire emojis from generic accounts? Look at the engagement ratio. Does an account with 500,000 followers only get a few dozen real comments? Use your intuition. If something feels fake, it probably is. For brands, the message is even clearer. Trust, but verify. The era of making 5- and 6-figure deals based on a screenshot of a follower count must end. Conducting a simple third-party audit of a potential influencer's audience should be a standard, non-negotiable step in any marketing campaign. It's the difference between a sound investment and flushing your money down a digital toilet. And for the networks like TLC, this presents a moment of reckoning. They are the gatekeepers. They create these reality TV stars and unleash them into the influencer ecosystem. Do they have a responsibility to ensure that the talent representing their brand is acting ethically in the digital space? If their stars are committing fraud using the fame the network gave them, doesn't that tarnish the network's own credibility? Perhaps this will lead to stricter social media clauses in contracts or even network-led audits of their major stars' accounts. The alternative is to allow their franchises to become associated with the very kind of fakeness and deception that reality TV is so often accused of. As for Sumit and Jenny, the path forward is murky. An apology seems unlikely to suffice. A denial will be shredded by the evidence. Their best hope is likely to ride out the storm, wait for the news cycle to move on, and hope that the audience has a short memory. They might be banking on the idea that in the chaotic world of 90 Day Fiancé, another bigger scandal will soon erupt and distract everyone. But a scandal built on hard data has a longer shelf life than one built on personal drama. The data will always be there. The reports can be run again and again, a permanent stain on their digital reputation. They may keep some of their die-hard defenders, the ones who will believe them no matter what, but their credibility in the wider world, and especially in the world of business, appears to be irrevocably damaged. They flew too close to the sun on wings made of purchased bots, and the wax is melting. The entire saga is a tragedy of modern fame. It shows how the pressure to remain relevant can lead people to make deeply unethical choices. It reveals how the very systems we use to connect with each other can be warped and manipulated for profit. The allure of a shortcut, of buying the popularity you feel you deserve, can be powerful. But as this story shows, shortcuts often lead directly off a cliff. The fame they built wasn't real, and therefore the fall won't be cushioned. It's a fall back to reality, a reality where trust is earned, not bought, and where authenticity in the long run is the only currency that truly matters. They may have successfully hacked the system for a while, gaming the algorithm and fooling the advertisers, but they forgot the most important variable in the equation, the truth. The truth has a way of coming out. And in the digital age, it often comes in the form of a forensic report that can't be deleted, denied, or explained away. The numbers don't lie. And in this case, the numbers tell a story of a great deception. Their fame is as fake as his first profile picture. Does it matter if a reality star's followers are real or fake? Does it change how you view them or the show? Is this just a harmless part of the entertainment game, or is it a serious ethical breach that deserves consequences? Let us know what you think of this digital deception.